Let me start off by saying that this class was amazing. I did not expect to find out some information about myself. I did expect some communication. I kind of expected more scenarios on how we would respond. I really loved, the nonverbal communication. That was great. And then being able to take this really awesome assessment was probably one of my best favorites out of this whole course. So this assessment took forever, I felt, but I knew that I was going to get some really good, accurate information about myself. And so when I got my results, I shared with this like numerous times. So when I got my results, I was super excited. I had this same little grin on my face because it was me. It was things that I knew I had, and then it was things that I forgot that I had. And what is so funny is that during this course, I'm going through a really big transition of jobs, and a lot of these strengths are strengths that are being taken advantage of where I'm at right now. And these are strengths that I know that I have and that I should be putting into practice where it's appreciated. And so this assessment, in a way, gave me a lot of courage and to taking a leap into I've been at my same job for 2.5 years, but I had the same title for 6 years. And so I've been a paraprofessional for the last 6 years. And so I know what the job entails. I know what I'm doing. And I know any type of scenario, I know how to respond. And I am now going to transition to a new job with new duties and a new title. And I don't think I would have been able to take this leap if I wouldn't have known these strengths. And so, my five strengths are positivity, I am an achiever, I'm a maximizer, an includer, and I always forget one, a futurist, which is funny because that's my favorite one. So, as a positivity, I was not surprised. I always remain positive about any given situation. No matter how hard I try to be negative, or no matter how hard I try to be like, man, when you go and vent to someone, you want them to be on your side. No matter how hard I try to be on your side, I'm going to look at the positive view. I am going to look at what the good outcome can be, why it's happening, and leave it in God's hands because everything will come. Everything will play out the way it's supposed to be. And to have that mentality, I think it makes me feel sane because being positive is probably one of the greatest things to do because you're going to dwell on something that you can't change. And so I really love that. As an achiever, I think that's when it's so funny because, the very first video, I'm very hard on myself. I was like, I'm not doing enough. I need to do more. I need to be, quicker on my mommy duties, my wife duties, and as an achiever, I always have to do something right, or I always have to get something done, whether it's picking up, the clothes off the floor, or folding the whole laundry, or just simply washing the dish. I have to do something every single day. I cannot just, sit there, and that is anywhere at home, at work, at the park, it doesn't matter. I have to like do something for the day. Um, as a maximizer, this one I was really impressed with. Um, as a maximizer, I've never heard of it before, but it really made a lot of sense. So, as a maximizer, you dwell on strengths. You use someone's strengths to your advantage into teaching or into anything. And what's so funny is that I'm a huge maximizer, especially working in special education, when it comes to students with learning disabilities. So I work with a lot of SLD kids. And so when it comes to teaching, I have to figure out ways they'll understand, especially for my mod severe kids. And so I think outside the box. I use their strengths on whatever they like. I take it to my advantage. I work with a lot of teenagers, and so I know what kind of pop culture they're in right now, and so I use a lot of them into my advantage. Something that will make them know a better understanding of what it is that we're teaching. And so as a maximizer, I really emphasize on that. And so that was really cool. That was really super cool that I love about learning about myself. Um, as a futuristic, I definitely love this, but at the same time, I do need to like get over it because then I have a tendency of not living in the moment. But as a futuristic, that is how I strive. That is how I keep it going. Me and my husband are huge futuristics because we will get a huge accomplishment now. and then we'll suddenly like sit there and be like, oh my gosh, in the future we can get this, this, and this done. Maybe we can live here by then. We can own our dream home. There's just so much that we can do. And as a futuristic, I think that it's bad because I'm not living in the moment, but it's great because it keeps me going. It keeps me striving up there, and it's like, no, we gotta keep going. This is what I can happen. This is what I want to do. This is what life I want to live. And so, as a futuristic, I think that's one of my favorites. Um, as an includer, I am a huge softie. I do not like to see people by themselves. I do not like to see people, upset. When I go eat at restaurants and I see people eating alone, I literally want to get out of my seat and, go invite them to eat with me because I don't want them to eat alone. Person. And so I have to include people. I have to include everyone. It's just part of who I am. And so that one was really big. And I love this. I think God gave me this one strength particularly for me because everybody needs that one person. Everybody needs that type of, you know, in their lives to where they won't feel as an outsider, they won't feel alone, So that one is extremely accurate. So these strengths were amazing to learn about. I loved each and every one of them, which is why I would have loved to implement this assessment in general into the classrooms. I did mention, some of these strengths I forgot about, or some of these strengths I kind of just dawned on me like, wow, I really have. And, knowing about these strengths gave me courage. And that's what I want my students to have. My students need to have courage. They need to know about their strengths because, with this generation, these students dwell on their weaknesses. These students dwell on the fact that they can't do anything, but every single person has strengths. And for them to figure out 5 of these, I can have these students, put them into practice. Now, my vision, if I were to implement this in the classroom, I would have all my students get the results. They're going to take the assessment. And then I would have the students find someone who had at least 1 to 2 same results, and I would have them split up that way. And so that way they can share stories and share, personalities. They might be a friend that they never met before. It might be someone that they never realized were in the classroom. So my students at the same time, they're bonding. We're building a connection. We're building a foundation into the classroom and the standards so that, throughout the rest of the year, we are a team. We're not necessarily just people in a class and then we're not getting to know each other. And so once my students go into grouping based on strengths that they have in common, I would then ask them, okay, now I want you to go with someone who has strengths that you don't have. Talk about those. Talk about those things. And the main purpose of this activity and the main purpose of this is for them to kind of encourage each other because these might be strengths that they're not happy about. These might be strengths that, they never realized. And so they can talk about it with each other. They can talk about it with others. And I think that it'd be really good for them. And like I said, I was extremely impressed and it was so insane to see like what is it that I was going through in life and then for it to give me those types of strengths to take that huge transition in my life was amazing and I want someone else to feel that way too. So again, this was a great class. I applaud it. And I've been through a lot of classes and a lot of at some point I'm like stressed out. I'm like, no, what's going on? But this one was amazing and I truly appreciate it and I hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as I did. Bye.